And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Reading Rituals with Miss Carmen. I'm Miss Carmen, your host. And as you may have figured out by now, we've got some very special guests that come in and join us to do some reading of their own books. That's what's really special about these sessions, and I'm really enjoying getting to know our authors and some of the stories behind the stories. So, without further ado, I would like to bring and introduce you to, because he's already here with us, Mr. Albert Quihuis. He is the author of today's book, which is Sofia's Awesome Tamale Day. I'm going to do my best to help you, Mr. Al, and please just tell us a little bit about the story and why you wrote it, and then we can have some more like a Q&A at the end of the story.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is something that's special for me, especially talking about this one story, Sofia's Awesome Tamale Day. It was my very first book, my very first children's book, and it was amazing because every year we'd get together and make tamales, and I always thought making tamales with my mom was like, okay, telling her kids what to do. It's time to make your bed, clean this floor, do these kind of things, and we're going to make tamales. And so, but it wasn't until many years later, as an adult, I saw my brother really getting into making the masa and making it the concern about the texture and the taste. And watching him, I realized that this was our family tradition. And I thought, this is our family tradition. And I thought, here, all these decades, and I just thought we were just making tamales for my mom. And no, this is our family time, and this is always a special time, very unique. And it's different than us just getting together on a Sunday. Making tamales is something really special. And just at that moment, my mom was walking by, and I said to my mom, I'm going to write this story. I'm going to write about our tradition about making tamales. Right. And she smiled at me, and it took me a while. I had writing a children's book was not something that came easy, although I thought it would be, but it was really, it took me 3 years, and I rewrote it many times, but I really have something that I feel is really special, and it's won several awards, so I know it is special. So I'm glad that you're asking me to share that with our readers today.
I can't wait to get started because, there's a lot of us that had this tradition, but it still boils down to a family tradition. So it's slightly different for everyone. And that's been my experience. So I'm really excited to learn what Sofia's experience is.
Yeah, exactly. So I enjoy reading this book like in the classrooms. And the questions I ask the kids before I get started, like, how many of you like tamales? Well, they all raise their hand. And then how many help make tamales? And just about all the kids raise their hand. And so they're very proud that they're part of that activity, the tamale line, where we're going to talk about this later in the book. But a lot of these kids at a very young age, they're already making their tamales, and it's a special time for all.
Great. Okay, let's get started.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and read. And
I'll try to follow along with the pictures.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Sofia's Awesome Tamale Day. So gather around, everyone. I want to tell you the story of Sofia and her awesome tamale day. Now, once upon a time, not too long ago, and in a place not too far away, lived a young girl by the name of Sofia, her grandmother Margarita, and her intelligent talking parrot Pepe. They lived in a small, quiet pueblo of Santa Poco near the Que Milagro River. It was a cold night in the middle of December, and Sofia was putting her parrot Pepe to sleep. And Sofia says, Pepe, it's time to go to sleep. And Pepe said, Pepe tired, Pepe tired. And Sofia replied, good night, Pepe, I love you. have good dreams. And Pepe closed his eyes. So real quick, here's Pepe. You see him in the book, but we
Yes.
have a
Oh, yes.
puppet of Pepe that goes with me everywhere I go, and so he's uh, he's always making it fun for everybody. So just so you know that he's very important when I do readings in the classroom.
Right.
Then, as Sophia prepared to go to bed, she gave her grandmother a great big hug and whispered, "Good night, Abuelita. Good night, Sophia. Have sweet dreams, mi amor." And her grandmother responded. The page. Then Sophia pulled the covers over and closed her eyes. She thought about the coming of Christmas season and all the special times she would be sharing with her family. Best of all, but that was all going to change. Early in the morning, there was a knock on the door. Someone from a nearby pueblo came to bring Sophia the message that her grandmother's sister was ill and needed her help right away. The grandmother packed her clothes, but before she left, she sat down and talked to Sophia. Sophia, she says, I need to leave and take care of my sister, and I don't know when I'll be back. This is the first year you will be by yourself. I know that you and Pepe will be okay, but I need your help. Christmas will be coming soon, and our family is counting on us to bring everyone together to make tamales for the holidays. I need to ask you if you will be able to lead our family in the making of tamales. The making and eating, sharing of tamales make this holiday special, and it's always been part of their family tradition and history. The page. Sophia knew how important this was for her family, and she says yes, yes to her grandmother. Yes, abuelita, I will do my best. Do your best, says Pepe. Oh, thank you, Sophia. I know I can always do your best, and I can count on you, says her grandmother. Just then, her grandmother picked up her bag and went away in the early morning light to take care of her sister. Still tired, Sophia went back to bed with visions of tamales dancing in her head. She remembered the making of many tamales for the Christmas past. This was going to be so much excitement with everyone talking, getting caught up with the latest gossip, sharing stories many times over again. Everyone had their own version of making tamales, and they were always making suggestions to improve the quality and the texture. Children would be playing games and running all over the place. And by the time they finished, everybody had plenty of masa all over them, including Pepe, who liked to squish the masa between his toes. Sophia woke up again when she heard Pepe talking. Buenos dias, buenos dias, time to get up, time to get up. The page. Good morning, Pepe. Buenos dias, says Sophia. Sophia thought to herself, what a big responsibility to be in charge of making tamales for the Christmas celebration. Her grandmother always made it look so easy, and everyone knew that her grandmother made the best tamales in the whole pueblo. Sophia started to wonder, well, how were her tamales going to taste? Naturally, she wanted them to be the best. She knew her family would be there to support her, and then it would be a team effort. As she was thinking to herself, she said out loud, well, I need to make a plan. And little Pepe repeated, make a plan, make a plan. Que bueno, que bueno. So she sat down at the kitchen table and she wrote out her plan. She could almost smell and taste the tamales as she wrote. The very next day, she started working on her plan. She needed to first let everybody know about the annual tamale party. So she called all of her relatives and friends and invited them over for the next weekend. Little Pepe kept repeating, tamale party, tamale party. Que bueno, que bueno. Page. Of course, everyone agreed to be there. The twins, Veto and Molly, were very excited. They had always been anxious all year long because now they were old enough to help make tamales. Plus, they enjoyed teaching Pepe new words. Second, Sofia needed to buy all the ingredients, so she asked Pepe if he wanted to go to the market. He flapped his wings and said, "Go to market, go to market. Que bueno, que bueno." So off they went with Pepe on Sofia's shoulder, her basket and grocery list in hand. At the market, Sofia picked up hojas, masa, red chili, beef, and olives, making sure that she brought just the right amount of ingredients so they wouldn't have to run back to the market. The process could be very slow, and they needed to go back to the market for more. The plan was to make plenty of tamales, and since everyone needed energy throughout the day, she bought plenty of food, snacks, and drinks for everyone. Sofia started flirting, or Pepe started flirting with Sofia's girlfriends, and he would say, "Que bonita, que bonita," and then he would whistle. And Pepe would, and Sofia would get mad. "Cállate, Pepe, cállate, Pepe." Pin the page. On Saturday, the first day of preparation, Sofia's friends arrived. They started by cooking and shredding the meat. They also prepared the red chili sauce and they stirred and shredded the meat into the chili. The smell of the meat cooking and the aroma of the chili filled the house. And within the windows open, everyone in the neighborhood knew that its preparation for tamales had begun. Throughout the day, Sofia tried to teach Pepe new words. They said, "Pepe, can you say rabbit?" And Pepe said, "Rabbit, rabbit." Then Pepe asked, "Say rana, rana." And both girls said, "Rana, rana." Then Sofia shouted, "Hey, what's going on there? And who's teaching who?" The first day preparation was completed. They had placed everything in the refrigerator to let it set overnight, and everyone would return the following day. The next day was Sunday. Tamale Day had arrived. Sofia got up early and went to church. While she was there, she said an extra prayer for her grandmother and her sister, and she hurried home to prepare for the big day. Turn the page. She knew her job was going to keep everyone and everything organized and to keep the tamale line moving. Family and friends started arriving around noon, and Sofia greeted everyone with a hug and a big thank you for coming. They started the process with softening the hojas. Then Eduardo started preparing the masa. Not too hard and not too soft. He knew that the test to see if the masa is just right is that you drop a small piece of masa into a glass of water. When it finally floats to the top, the masa is ready. They started warming the red chili con carne, and Sofia already started adding her secret spices. Little Pepe says, "Secret spices, secret spices. Que bueno, que bueno." Now everything was ready, and it was time for the assembly line to begin. Maria started the first group with smearing the masa on the hoja using the back of a spoon. The second group put a spoonful of red chili on top of the masa. Little Veto and Molly took turns putting the olive on top of the chili for good luck. The last group wrapped it in another hoja to close it and place it on the platter. After a while, Sofia was overseeing the assembly line of making tamales. She noticed that they were running out of olives, and she quickly found out why. The twins were eating more olives than they were putting into the tamales. Page. Just at that moment, they knew that they were getting caught and they started blaming each other. Oh, she started it. No, she started it. No, I wouldn't do that. No. As everyone watched, Sofia shouted, "Attention, everyone. We need to go back to the market to buy more olives. And we need more hojas too. Okay, we need a volunteer to go. And this is a good time to take a break." Everyone, when returned with all the supplies, everyone was ready to go start again. And the tamale line was back in business, making tamales one after another until they were all done. What a great day it had been. Everyone was tired, but they were proud of the tamales that they had made. They knew that Christmas Day would be special. They had put their heart, soul, and a lot of work into making their traditional family tamales. Pepe wanted to play one more last trick on Venom. Sounding like Sofia, he shouted, "Vero! Vero! Come quickly!" Vero came running. "Sofia, what do you need?" Sofia shouted, "Vero, I didn't call you." Vero, Paige. Vero paused and she looked at Pepe with her squinting eyes. And everybody laughed because they knew it was Pepe. And Pepe simply said, "Oh, Pepe's a good boy. Pepe's a good boy." Oh, this made Sophia mad. She stomped off, frustrated and teary eyed. Before everyone started to leave, Sophia had an announcement to make. Her grandmother's sister was feeling better, and her grandmother Margarita will be home for Christmas. Everyone cheered. Sophia asked everyone to come back on Christmas Day to celebrate and feast on the tamales. Sophia told Pepe to say goodbye and thank you to everyone. By this time, little Vero, had enough of Pepe, and she said, "Pepe, you talk too much. Cállate, Pepe, cállate, Pepe." Oh, Pepe responded, "Oh, cállate, Pepe, cállate, Pepe." And this made Vero really mad, and she screamed, "Pepe, go to bed, go to bed." And then Pepe repeated, "Go to bed, go to bed. Qué bueno, qué bueno." "Come on, Vero, it's time to go home," said Sofia. And Pepe repeated, "Yeah, go home, go home. Qué bueno, qué bueno." Turn the page. So you guys didn't know that parrots had a sense of humor, did you?
Well,
A few
Pepe's
days
doing
later, Christmas Day arrived. Sophia was very excited to see her abuelita, and she ran to give her the biggest hug. She had missed her grandmother, and her grandmother had missed her too. Sophia started cooking the tamales, and one by one, everybody arrived. Sophia could tell her family was hungry, and they could smell the tamales cooking. Sophia was wondering and hoping her grandmother would like the tamales that the family had made. Finally, everyone gathered around the table to eat. All the eyes were on Sophia's grandmother as she removed the husk and tasted the first tamale. Everyone could tell she was savoring every bite. Slowly, she took Sophia's hand and she looked at her and said, "Que sabor. These tamales are delicious. Sophia, I am so proud of you. I knew you would do your best in continuing our family tradition, and that's why I chose you." And Pepe says, "Oh, que sabor, que sabor, que bueno, que bueno." Everybody laughed and nodded in agreement as they started to eat their own tamales. Sophia was happy that everyone was together and enjoying eating them. Sophia had done her best in continuing their Christmas family tradition, and she thanked everyone for their love, page, and support. Sophia was especially happy because she had done her best, and your grandmother was proud of her. This was Sophia's awesome tamale day, a day that she will always remember. And everyone cheered, and Pepe says, "Que bueno, que bueno." The end.
Oh, this was so wonderful. Thank you for spending time with us and reading us your story. It brings back such memories, which I think is part of what you try to do with your writing. You write about our traditions and about family time. Can you tell us, before we let you go, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with what's happened from when you first wrote this book to where you are now and some of the awards that you've gotten?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, uh, that was my first book, and I received several awards. It was later translated into Spanish, and so we received an award for that, for the translation. And then we've also received an award for the illustration. Susan Claca is our illustrator, and she's done a lot of travel in Mexico, and so she was able to capture a lot of the flavor and the color, in her trips, and put that on into her illustrations. So I'm very thankful for that. The second book was the search for the lost art of making tortillas,
Right.
and that's another book about family and tradition. And I saw that a need for this because each generation there's a less need or want to make tortillas, and so to the point where my daughter says, "Dad, if I want a tortilla, I'll just go and buy it."
Right.
And but that's another thing I do when I'm there in the classroom and I'm talking to the students. I ask them, how many of you know how to make tortillas? And actually, surprisingly, still a lot of young girls that are helping their mother and grandmother make tortillas. So I'm really excited for that. And then we also get into a little game of trying to, what kind of tortillas are we using? Are we using corn tortilla, or are we using flour tortillas to make burros or to make enchiladas or things like that? So we have a good time with that.
That's good.
Uh, yeah, and then since that, I wrote two other books. Uh, One is that Sophia's Awesome Tamale, or Sophia's Summer Adventure, and Isabella's Treasure. And so that's, I was able to receive awards there too. And then more recently, I wrote a book called Better Than Me. It's about three generations of inner strength. And it's about, a young girl, her mother and grandmother, how they went back and forth across the border until finally she comes here when she's 4 years old, or no, in the fourth grade, not speaking any word of Spanish, or not speaking, I'm sorry, not
That's
speaking
good.
any word of English,
Right.
and being able to, by the time she graduates from high school, to be the top of her class. And so it's a very inspirational book. It's a historical memoir, and that too received several awards.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you as an award winning author for spending time with us on our program, Reading Rituals. What we're trying to do here with this program is to bring you the creative side, the creative stories from authors from all different walks of life. But these particular ones, this series, is about being bilingual, speaking Spanish, and having a featured spotlight on our community's authors that are writing children's books. So thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to see you next time on Reading Ritual with Miss Carmen. Albert, thank you so much for, again, taking time out of your day to read us Sophia's Awesome Tamale Day.
Okay, thank you. It was a
Thank you,
pleasure.
everyone. Bye bye.